Yeah, I'm super proud of our team and super excited for the way that we've started conference. I feel like we've started conference playing really well. And I think coming off of this last road trip this week, I feel like I'm really proud of the way that we responded in that after not getting necessarily what we wanted in that first game. I love how we responded with what we did in the second game. I felt like we had multiple players that came in and contributed and multiple players that contributed in a lot of different ways. And I felt like that showed just a lot of our teamwork and a lot of our toughness to be able to respond the way we did and get the win on the back half of that road trip. Really proud of the performances of Jade Clack. You see Hannah Riddick, you see Dora Toman. Jade Clack had a career night. I felt like it was just a reflection of all the work and the preparation that she's put into it. So really proud of the balance that we have on our team offensively. Defensively, I felt like we rebounded really well and that there was a lot of toughness on the defensive end with us this week for sure. We know that our culture of love and trust and work is sometimes tested the most in those moments of adversity, and I was really proud of the way that our team responded. We've got a lot of work ahead of us. We know that we're going to continue to learn, and just really excited for the direction that our team is going right now.
Coach, you had the tough loss, but you're staying on the road, so you go to Charlotte. What did you do, to kind of really kind of circle the wagons, and what can you do when you're on the road and you have a situation like that?
Yeah, well, we always talk about how setbacks are temporary, right? Setbacks are temporary, and I really believe that this team is such a resilient team. So we take those learning opportunities and those learning moments that we have, and we learn from it, and we watch film, and we look at what decisions or what things that we can do better as a team, and then we move forward into those next moments, full steam ahead. And I think our team does a good job of that, right? We understand the accountability and the ownership that has to happen whenever we don't necessarily get the results that we want, and then we move forward together. And I think the togetherness on this team and the way that we move forward is really special.
Were they hard practices?
I think this year you get in your routine a little bit of what you need to do and kind of where you need to be physiologically from the load that you need to be able to peak perform in the game, and we make sure that we kind of stay on track with that. I love this team because I think they're such high achievers. When we're watching film, they know immediately, hey, this is what we could have done, this is what we should have done, and so being able to maintain our confidence through some of these things is really key with us.
Jade and Abby and some others, but Maddie Cartwright was not part of what you were talking about. Is it good that she doesn't have to be your number one player all the time, that, other people step forward when Maddie's not having the greatest game?
Yeah, well, for sure. We all know how much Maddie Cartwright does for us, even whenever her numbers aren't in the scoring column, right? The toughness and the leadership that she brings to us, and then on the defensive end. But, it's so much fun to have a team that's really balanced. That's something that we really want in our program all the time, is that we have multiple people that are capable of stepping up, and we were so proud of those that did in some of those different moments. I do know that Maddie's going to bounce back, and I do know that it's going to be fun to see that happen. But at the same time, our team is never going to be about one person. We're going to be about teamwork, and we're going to be about toughness. And I love the way that our players support each other through each other's successes and through each other's challenges.
What's it like to have a game against, with the best team in the conference on your home floor coming back, kind of in this early portion of this season?
Yeah, well, for sure, we're getting ready to be battle tested here on our home court with the number one team in the standings that's going to come in to our arena. We love being back home, coming off of this road swing. There's something that tastes just a little bit sweeter about coming back home, but we also know the challenges that we have, and I'm excited for our team for this challenge. I'm excited for our team to get on the floor and compete. I think when you look at our conference, there's such great parity in the league, and there's so many good teams. Night after night, you're tested again and again of showing up and being your best, and this test is going to be one where we're going to show up and we're going to be our best.
What is it about Rice that makes them a difficult matchup?
Yeah, well, for sure, they have great balance. They have different scoring options all over the floor for them, from their interior play to their guard play, and then they defend really well. So they've got a lot of different things that they do well.
I want to go back to East Carolina and then kind of the approach between, like you have a disappointing result at East Carolina, then you come back and you play well. What is it about this team that you've seen? And I know we're halfway point now through the season, but what is it about their resiliency, and what did you really kind of focus and work on to kind of get over what is an emotional loss to get back up for another good opponent?
Yeah, I think we've had some practice at that in our non-conference too, right? And being able to have some of those experiences that we've had in our non-conference has allowed us to have that quicker bounce back that we had. Anytime that we talk about being resilient, we go back to our purpose, we go back to our why, and we go back to the how, and we just maintain focused on our culture, and we maintain focus on those things of the way that we pursue excellence and how we do it and why we do it and what our purpose is, and it just keeps you grounded and it keeps you centered and it keeps you moving forward together.
But when you have a performance like you did coming off of a loss, does it reiterate like what we're doing here in terms of culture? Everything that we practice, everything that we preach has taken a hold.
Yeah, for sure. For us, we go back to the process. We're very much a process-focused program, right? What are those details that we really need to hone in on? And that's the response of the team. Bruce has that question just a while ago, like, what is that like? And it's like we become more laser-focused, right? It's like we become more, I would say our belief becomes greater in our vision, and our focus gets a little bit greater in those moments to be able to do that. And, sometimes we're talking about skills, right? Sometimes we're talking about like a skill set in the game that we need to do better. We got to take care of the ball a little bit better. Our shooting percentage wasn't necessarily what we wanted it to be. What does that look like in the next game for us, especially whenever you're on the road and you have 2 back-to-back games? What kinds of things can you do from a mindset to be able to bounce back there quicker?
What's the next step from your view and the coaching staff's point of view for this team for them to take?
Yeah, well, I think it's consistency, right? Being able to maintain some of those spurts that we have in the game where we're playing at a really high level. We've got to be able to do that consistently and not necessarily be up and down or have a quarter here or a quarter there. It's kind of fun to witness, and I know you guys have seen this, like witness what we're capable of when we're on the floor, when we can just become a little bit more consistent in those areas. I think we're going to continue to have a good climb like we are.
Yeah. How do you create that consistency with the play and not going up and down? Is it a mental thing? Is it things you're doing on the floor?
Yeah, probably a little bit of both, right? You've got to maintain that confidence. You've got to understand that everything is within the details and the process of what you're doing. So stay extremely focused mentally there in our process and in our purpose. And then on the floor, sometimes you got to make tweaks. You got to make adjustments. We've got to be able to have a versatile game plan against different opponents that are coming in. The 2 opponents that we just saw are different than the opponent that we're getting ready to face. So you've got to be able to strategically, from a basketball standpoint, understand, okay, what adjustments do we need to make that we can be really successful at for the next game?